Continuing to listen to testimony from Dr. Nakasone. He's an FBI voice analyst, and he's talking about the voices on the 911 call that we've heard so much about. And basically, he's saying there's no way to tell whose voice that was screaming on the 911 tape, which is, of course, what we kind of already knew. Two attorneys on my panel today, Paige Pate, Sunny Hostin, are confused about this. Jason Johnson, who's a court observer, much like I am. I mean, if you're sitting on the jury, Jason, and you're looking at this witness, you're saying, what's the point?
Well, one, they might be nodding off like George Zimmerman on day one, because it seems like a really long buildup to whatever it is the prosecution is trying to argue. I don't really understand what their point is. At the end of the day, I think people are going to listen to the tape. The jurors are going to decide on their own who they think they hear. I don't think any expert or witness could sway them.
What are they trying to do, do you think, Paige? I mean, he's now talking about how you can't tell whether it's a young person's voice on the tape or an adult, and then the prosecutor or the prosecuting attorney kind of turned it to like voices you hear in real life, not on tape. And can you tell if a person's young or old if you hear those voices too from far away?
It's really hard to understand. I mean, as a prosecutor, we all know that you have to call fact witnesses even if they don't support your theory of the case. You got to get it out there, because if you don't do it, the defense lawyer will. That's not true with experts. And it seems like this expert is undercutting one of the earlier prosecution witnesses we heard from last week, who seemed to suggest that it was the younger person who gave the scream. So I really have no reason to give you as to why he's doing that, especially at this point in his case.
So, Sonny, you've been listening to this testimony for what, about 20 or 30 minutes now? Can you make sense of it yet?
Yeah, and I think we also, Carol, need to take a step back. We all know about the Fry hearing, right? We all know this, all of this information. The jury doesn't. The jury is listening to this with fresh ears, watching this witness with fresh eyes, if they were telling the truth during voir dire. So that's the first point. The second point is, we know that, you know, this witness is talking about voices, talking about older voices versus younger voices, and we also have been told that perhaps someone from Trayvon Martin's family may get on the witness stand and identify the voice as that of Trayvon, the voice that was yelling for help. This kind of testimony coming from an expert could support that kind of testimony. So I don't think it's so out there that this person is getting on the witness stand, an expert, having been with the FBI for so many years, giving that context that, yes, sometimes you can identify the difference between a younger sounding voice and an older sounding voice, and he has even done it before. So it's actually making a little more sense to me. It's becoming much clearer, and you know, I suspect that's where they're going.
Although, as Jason Johnson pointed out, he also testified that when a grown man is afraid, he sounds like a younger person.
Well, that's right, and that's right. And he says that he's saying that pitch sometimes gets much higher when you're under stress. But again, if Trayvon Martin was already young, his voice hadn't been established yet. If he's under stress, then you're even listening to a higher pitch. And you've got other witnesses that are saying, Rachel said he had a baby voice. You've got some of the witnesses saying, well, I thought it was a younger sounding voice. And then if the state puts on someone from the family that says, I know that's my son, or I know that's my nephew, that could carry a lot of weight. And so, you know, I think I know where this witness is going.
Until the defense puts George Zimmerman's family on the stand and they say, I know that's George Zimmerman's voice. Interesting stuff, though. We're going to take a quick break. We'll continue to monitor this for you. We'll be back.